The Giants are going to have one sweet pass rush this season now that Abdul Carter, the Penn State edge, has been added to the roster. What's going on, everyone? Nick Falato here to break down Abdul Carter. It's exciting. We've talked extensively about this player, and it's not really a surprise that the Giants went out and added him. But pairing him with Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence, that's a very solid trio, especially with the other players on the Giants roster. Carter was a freshman All-American. He was second-team All-American as a sophomore. And then as a junior, he was a unanimous consensus All-American, which sounds tautological, but what the hell do I know? Pro Football Focus gave Carter the second highest pass rushing grade in the FBS last season with an 11.8 PRP. PRP is a formula that combines sacks, hits, and hurries relative to how many times the player rushed the passer. This was 13th in the FBS. Carter had a 35.1% true pass rush win rate, meaning against true pass sets. That ranked 10th in the FBS. He did all of that as the most popular guy in town. Everyone wanted to be around Carter. I'll show you the attention he received. Just a popular guy, leading to other sacks, of course. You can see how many times the running back or the guard will kick out to ensure that Abdul Carter is not affecting the game. Pairs of eyes were on Carter like he was a very attractive person. We'll just go with that. And you could see how it altered and affected the offensive game plan so very frequently. And you could see the control of this spin move. We'll see plenty of clips like this throughout this video and how it helped lead to more sacks. The upside is through the roof with a player like this. He's not fully complete, and we'll go through that, and we'll talk about that a lot over the coming weeks and in this video. But let's get to some of these plays. Over the last decade, there's been few players in college football who can win high side like Abdul Carter does. And you could see him going up against Donovan Jackson here and just winning with speed and bend. If you can bend around contact, especially in a defense like Shane Bowen, who uses a lot of these wide nine fronts, this will complement what Dexter Lawrence can do so well, just like Brian Burns' skill set. And they're different players, Abdul Carter and Brian Burns, but both of them have an elite ability to win high side. And you can see how he gets to that half-man relationship. And Jackson does a good job attempting to meet him halfway. You can see that first step, and then he's like, oh, crap, I need to open my hips because this speed is so serious from Abdul Carter. And then Carter leverages his hand usage to swipe the outside arm of Donovan Jackson downward and then rip through the outside shoulder, get underneath the armpit and rip through while bending at the knees, bending at the waist, and then turning a tight corner. This is something that Abdul Carter does very well. He's an urgent mover with amazing bend and control to contort his body while cornering up the pass rushing arc. And you can see how tight he turns even on a play like this against Donovan Jackson. Jackson gets him. You see that's clean contact against Abdul Carter right to the breastplate. But you can see that forward lean from Carter. You can see how Carter grabs Jackson's wrist and attempts to break the contact, but he loses this rep initially, Carter. But Carter has the balance and the control to regain himself. And then watch how he bends tightly around Jackson. And then this is the move that really impresses me. He puts so much weight on that foot, that upfield foot that is planted in the deck right now. And then he's able to reorient himself to get right after Will Howard and make this sack. That's such a wildly impressive, athletic, strong play from Abdul Carter. Not to mention, this guy avoids contact so well. He's like Neo from the Matrix, dodging bullets. And you're going to see that a lot throughout this highlight reel. I don't even have highlight reel. This is just a bunch of pass rushing. And I have some lowlights as well. Here we're going to see a ghost move made famous by plenty of pass rushers, but most notably in recent memory, Von Miller. He's going to angle himself towards that outside shoulder. He's going to get the tackle to punch, and then he's going to just dip the inside shoulder, try to get underneath it, rip through if he needs to. You can see that the rip is landing at the elbow and not even at the armpit, so he's not even up tight to the tackle, and he can easily turn at this point. You can see the lower body flexion. Watch the footwork. 1, 2. You see that lean. That leg is not vertical, right? Like he has a lot of stress on that ankle joint. His ankle joints can handle that type of stress, and he could just easily turn. And on this one, it's not even a great pass set. It's not even necessarily a play where Carter really bends through the contact, but he's still able to easily turn that, hit the quarterback, force an incomplete pass of Riley Leonard. Here he's going to use a spin to the inside, which is facilitated and even assisted by the running back's chip. It's not even one of his more impressive inside spin moves, which we see a bunch of. But you see, he takes that wide angle, towards the outside shoulder, and he gets that tackle to sink. See, watch how this tackle sinks. The tackle sinks, and he's engaging. He's engaging with both of his hands, meaning his feet are stopping. So Carter feels the contact from the running back and then spins right to the inside. And you can see how that alley just opens up to the inside due to the overset. And when you're a high side rusher with this type of burst, another reason why I love Burns, tackles are going to overset against you frequently. It's something that tackles are going to fear, and it's going to lead to these inside counter moves. So it's on you as a pass rusher to hit the inside counter moves, to win inside. And as you're seeing right here, Carter can do that, whether it's a spin or just a hard inside dart. His footwork, it's so quick, and he has this rare ability to change direction and explode laterally. And you can see how he puts that foot in the deck. He gets that tackle to take that extra step, just that extra step. And the tackle is not even really outside of the frame of Abdul Carter. This is a well-framed up block by this tackle. And you can see the running back who's also paying attention to the most popular guy in the world, Abdul Carter. And then Carter puts that foot in the ground, and there's just a crevice, just a very small hole that he can shoot himself through. And watch how he does it. He forces the overcommitment, forces the engagement, forces the punch forward, and then he explodes right through. And what Giants and Shane Bowen and Penn State, you could see it here, what they could do is you can align a 3 technique to occupy that guard. And with the guard occupied, you have that 3 technique explode towards the outside shoulder, but not get too far into the B gap. So you're just occupying the guard. And that's going to force 6-man protections when you have a pass rusher like Abdul Carter. That Dexter Lawrence right there, you're going to have one-on-ones with the running back who has to choose who to help. It's going to be an excellent situation if the Giants can find themselves in a lot of pass rushing scenarios, a lot of 3rd and 6 pluses and situations like that. But as Abdul Carter starts up wide, goes through the B gap, you can see how the 3 technique is engaged with the guard. Now it's just on the tackle. The tackle needs to be precise. He needs to frame, even if he frames that block perfectly, he needs to hit on his engagement. He needs to get contact on Abdul Carter, and professional tackles are going to do a much better job than the tackle in the clip that we're watching at the moment. But still, it's not going to be a every down success for tackles. It's difficult to win against a pass rusher like this. With this type of speed, with this type of movement skills, this types of pass rushing moves. I wouldn't say he's the most refined with his hands quite yet, but it's coming along when you combine his hand usage with all of his ability from a finesse pass rushing standpoint, you get a damn good pass rusher. And it's just that tackles, I should say, don't know how to frame him, don't know how to line him up, because he can do exactly what he's doing here and just win around the edge. And he can bend the way that he does bend and get after quarterbacks, sack them to the deck. Just how low he gets in his rush, it's wildly impressive. You can see on this play, you have a 3 technique, but the 3 technique slants inside. 55 believes 57 is going to be there to protect him. You're going to see them arguing at the end of this play. So Carter just shoots right inside. This is a well-executed twist stunt at the line of scrimmage. 57's like, oh no, what's wrong? 55's like, look, he slanted. The 3 technique slanted 57. That means you need to help me with this freak athlete, Abdul Carter, number 11. That's not what happened, though. But this is when pre-snap alignment and post-snap rotation can help a defense. And Shane Bowen showed this whenever the Giants were in situations where they can get deep into their bag. Shane Bowen did this often. He did this frequently when he was the Tennessee Titans defensive coordinator, with pirate stunts and 4-man rushes, simulated pressures as well. But here, you just have slanting and you bring a blitz. The 5th guy comes. Running back has to pay attention to that 5th guy. And all it takes is one mistake from the protection package. And that protection package made a mistake on this play, and it led to a sack for Abdul Carter. This stuff happens in the NFL all the time as well. Now we're going to see the upside of Abdul Carter as a quarterback spy. And when you think about the Giants division, you got Jaden Daniels, you have Jalen Hurts, you have mobile quarterbacks that the Giants have struggled with in the past. Now you could put Abdul Carter as his linebacker in some sub packages with the pass rush that they do possess with Burns and Dexter Lawrence and some of the other assets they have. Here you see him just spy. Oh, quarterback's break and contain. I'm going to run after him, and I'm going to force a sack. He does it again. Same play. This was obviously a game plan of Penn State. Have Abdul Carter use his insane athletic ability, his explosiveness, his suddenness, his instincts to not allow the quarterback to affect the game plan. Here we're going to see just elite get-off by Abdul Carter. You see this a decent amount throughout his tape. He is already leaning forward, and the ball is just getting snapped. You see that movement right there? Just a little subtle movement, and then Carter anticipates it well. And you can see how he just would have blown up this run, and he had the blockers in front because you had the pullers. You see the center and the tackle both pull. Quarterback power, love quarterback power. But if it was a jet sweep of some sorts, holy crap, Abdul Carter would have came up with like a 5-6 yard tackle for a loss based off of not only his elite athletic traits that we've been detailing, but his ability to anticipate and jump the snap. I don't even understand how people can bend like this. Here's a play against Boise, and this bend is just unreal. It causes this flag as well. You see how he explodes into the open B gap. Again, good alignment. The center ends up going towards the original 2-eye technique, and Carter's just going to go right to the B gap. And watch how this guard engages him. See how low and controlled Carter is. And when someone is engaged, an offensive lineman is engaged with Carter and his upper body, you can see how he's still able to keep his feet in the ground and keep his feet going to the destination that he's attempting to go to, which is usually in the pocket or towards the quarterback, despite the fact that he has a 300-pound man on his back. Now, the guard is not in a great position to actually enforce or impose upon Abdul Carter, but you could just fall on the guy, and then that usually would eliminate him. But you can see how Carter is able to present his back while his hips are oriented towards the pocket and his chest is oriented towards the pocket. In this position, he's able to present his back to this guard. So the guard really doesn't have any surface area to contact to alter or deter Carter from breaking into the pocket. And the fact that he's able to separate from this completely and then get after the quarterback is even more impressive and a testament to his overall talent and control as a pass rusher and as a mover. Here's another ghost move. Oh, this is one of the most beautiful ghost moves you'll ever see. You can see the tempoed rush at first, choppy steps. And then you could see right where I paused it right there. You could see how that tackle dips that outside arm a little bit, dips the outside arm, and he's about to go to punch. And this is anticipated so well by Abdul Carter that once that punch is raised, Abdul Carter just hits with a hard jab step outside of the arc and then a dip of the inside shoulder, tightly turned right into the pocket to get a sack. Few players possess this type of movement, right? Like there's guys in the NFL that possess this type of movement. Burns isn't quite as controlled as this. Burns has similar traits, though, when it comes to high side rushes. Von Miller did this excellently. Nick Bonino is a lesser known pass rusher who had a really nasty ghost move coming out of Oklahoma. But you could see how this is just phenomenal work by Abdul Carter. What Carter does is he puts offensive tackles into a position of consternation where they don't know when they can engage or how patient they should be, if they should dictate the snap initially, because the longer they wait, the more it's in their head and the more array of moves and options Abdul Carter has. And Carter could just jump the snap like we saw a little bit before and win with his speed and explosiveness. So it just puts tackles into such a precarious situation because of his overall ways of beating them. And here's another inside move, one that we haven't seen quite yet, where he gets to the outside, gets the tackle to open up the arc, and then he lands an inside move, an inside club on the inside shoulder of the tackle, and then brings his outside arm through to rip and get into the pocket. And this leads to an interception, primarily because of the pass rush, forcing the quarterback into an unwise throw, even though that was a very good play by 13 as well. Here against Notre Dame. Another high side, bend around the edge, force a throw away from Riley Leonard, sails out of bounds. I think I put this into the beginning of the clip as well. But you can see how the tackle here cuts off the angle well and makes clean contact on Abdul Carter. And Carter, he's struggling through the power of the tackle because the tackle actually has him a little bit, but he still wins. And just look at it's hard to see because of all the trash that's in the way, but you could just see the lower body and how it bends through and how it persists through that contact. There are elements of Carter's game where I don't necessarily see this in run defense, taking on blocks from certain angles that I believe could manifest and hinder his overall upside at the next level, to manifest negatively, I should say. But holy crap, man, when it comes to rushing the passer, it's beautiful watching this. Here you can see the hand fighting against UCLA. Look how low he gets. Like, this is so tough for 6'6" tackles to get that low and to land themselves. If their feet aren't in the right positions, good luck. Good luck cutting off this angle and stopping this pass rusher. Just gets right in, harasses the quarterback. Here we're going to see him aligned over which would be a 3 technique position, only in a 2-point stance. Lateral agility, man. Lateral quickness combined with hand usage, combined with explosiveness and suddenness, ability to pry himself right through the B gap. Love them active hands. Just a rare ability to flatten at the top of the arc. The hand usage, the dip rip combinations, the elite speed, the variety of pass rushing moves that you guys have already seen watching this video. It's all on display. That's why a lot of people love this player. And then the clip I'm showing right now, this is not something that I believe is consistent. I don't think he's going to be able to win like this at the NFL level just yet. Doesn't mean he can't grow into it. But here is a pure bull rush. This is one of the best bull rushes I saw from Abdul Carter. And he puts the tackle on his ass. But this is not a power rusher. That's not necessarily how Abdul Carter wins. But he generates enough force and power into contact to allow him to maximize his finesse moves, if that makes sense, right? But here you can see him just go right for the bull rush. Look how low his hat is. This guy can stay very balanced as a low rusher. He doesn't have to have this high pad level. He has that type of control about him, that type of elite athletic ability. Here you could see him just explode low to high through the ground, get underneath the tackle, and then shove him to the deck. But I want to see more of that because it's not something that's consistent with his tape. These power rush moves, right? Forklift moves, bull rush moves, even converting speed to power. When he does that, it's much more speed oriented than it is power oriented. But he wins because it's so hard to frame him up. And because, like I said earlier, he's like Neo from the Matrix. He could just dodge any kind of punch and then he's gone because he's such a sudden mover, not necessarily because he is this uber strong pass rusher. Here you can see inside spin. Just wanted to include that. Look, this isn't like a rep where he won necessarily because the guard had to protect, but this is a beautiful move. Like he gets up into the pass rushing arc. We're talking 1, 2, 3. He's on his third step. On the fourth step, he starts the spin because he feels the leverage of the tackle and the path of where the tackle is going to be up the pass rushing arc. But watch it when he spins. You can see how that punch of the inside arm of that UCLA tackle, it's over the top. It's not landed cleanly at all. And then watch how Abdul Carter uses his wrist off the spin to propel himself into the B gap, but the guard was right there. It was a nice protection. Good job by that guard being cognizant of Abdul Carter. You can see how the guard is engaged with this 2 technique, this 2 eye shade. And you can see how his eyes are just on 11. Like, where's this guy going to go? I got to help my tackle. I got to help my guy out, but that's still a well-executed inside spin move from a balance control and how he used his arms and his hands to separate from contact. Here's another one where he just completely spins the tackle around. This tackle had a rough day against Carter. And again, the running back's helping with the chip. Carter feels that. He's like, all right, I'm just going to go right to the B gap. And you can see where the 91 is. 91 is the 3 technique. You have a 1 shade that's going to dictate the attention of the center. You have 13 also in that area. So it almost ensures that you're going to have a one-on-one matchup with running back help, but offensive line one-on-one matchup, meaning that B gap's going to be open. So you start off high, you tempo your rush. See? Start off high, tempo the rush, get that tackle saying, oh no, when do I punch? What am I going to do? Where's my running back? And then the running back goes to hit, tackle engages, inside spin. See how we use that elbow too? Use that elbow, hit the back of the tackle, spin right to the inside, recollect yourself, rebalance yourself, get into the pocket, hit the quarterback. Here's another inside move where it's more just, am I going high side? Nope, I'm going to go to the inside because I see that guard is not there. I'm going to hit you with a club. I'm going to dip my outside shoulder. I'm going to bend through the contact, and I'm going to get into the pocket. Forces an incomplete pass. UCLA. Again, he just reads this screen well. It's a smart football player, too. This isn't just an athlete out there. Smart football player. Read it. Make a TFL. It's one of the reasons why he had so many damn TFLs last year. 24 tackles for a loss is a lot of tackles for a loss. Here are some clips against the run. Step. Sees that this is just an aggressive block. That's a poorly executed block, too. See how far he's leaning his chest well over his toes. Now, this is a successful run for West Virginia, but Carter does his job. Because Carter, again, he's not a player who's going to consistently set the edge and dictate as a run defender. That's not his skill set. He weighed 250 pounds at the combine, but I don't think he played at 250. Here we're going to see run through the running back, get after the quarterback. See a lot of plays like this. He fights through some blocks in the run game here. 2. He's got resilience to him as a run defender, that's for sure. It's just resilience only gets you so far sometimes. Here's a nice squeeze. H-back tries to kick him out, keeps everything tight, hits with the inside, doesn't wrong arm, doesn't matter. It's still a traffic jam. That's on a 4th and 1, too. Ends up being a stop for Carter and the Penn State defense. Here we're going to see some coverage snaps now. Look how fluid this is. This is from 2024. I have some 2023 linebacker tape we're going to go over here in a little bit. But you can see just drops back, right? Eyes on, gets back on the quarterback, sees the quarterback is looking to the quarterback's right. So flips his hips, sinks underneath, plant and drives down low, seeing that the quarterback is going to use his legs, a mobile quarterback. Frames him up, knocks past. That's just a smooth, fluid play in coverage. Here's some more reps of him just operating in coverage, also acting somewhat as a quarterback spy. Here's some of those linebacker reps I was talking about. This is a nice fit. This is all from 2023. Remember, he was a linebacker in 2022 and in 2023 for Penn State. Here, the guard pulls initially, right? Watch Abdul Carter points, sees the pull, points, kick over a gap. Kicks 41 over a gap because that extra gap is being created on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage now with that guard pulling. So he kicks 41 over a gap so the rest of the defense can do what they were already going to do pre-snap, and then Carter replaces 41's responsibility, and it's right where the running back was headed. He's able to diagnose, key that, and then fill, stop at the line of scrimmage, just beyond it. Here's a nice play in pursuit where he takes a path. The range of the player, right? You didn't really see this too much in 2024. Just because, like when he was a backside pursuit defender, you did, but a lot of offenses tried to get hat on this guy. And he was a linebacker here, so he wasn't necessarily on the line of scrimmage. But when he can turn on the jets and go, it's a sight to see. It's fun. You can see how he's able to read. He's reading these blocking concepts from Iowa. He sees here you have GH counter out of the shotgun, and he reads it. He sees the guard, he sees the H-back, he sees the hole open up, he sees the running back, and he fills it. And he assists with some backside pursuit defenders to make the tackle. Just looking through, seeing what he's got to see, and making the play. Here's a forced fumble against Michigan. You see some good run defending plays here from the second level. It wasn't always perfect. I don't want to make it like he was this excellent instinctual linebacker. I think there were certainly flashes and elements of that throughout his 2023 tape, but there were also times where he would just get blocked out of his fit, and it wasn't as great. And this is another, here are some negative plays I want to get to as well. There are times where he just loses and he gets put on his ass because he's not the strongest guy in the world. I don't think this was something that plagued him at all. He was one of the best college football players for a reason. But when you're translating his skill set to the NFL, yes, I think this is something that could, again, hinder him from reaching his upside. Here's a run defender. You have him trying to set the edge. 74 gets outside of him. So he's going to set to the inside, seeing that 28 did a really good job penetrating from that 2-eye shade, right? Getting up there and then forcing the cutback. And as he attempts to help 42 make this tackle, he gets driven out by the tackle and is right in his gap responsibility. And one of the reasons why I include this in some of the other clips that I'm about to go over isn't to be nitpicky. Because like this play right here, look, he's executing his assignment. He's going up against Donovan Jackson, and he sees that I think it's Travion Henderson, or no, it's Judkins. Judkins is heading right towards him. So he collapses into the gap and then helps bring down Judkins, or at least affected Judkins. The reason why I mention it, though, is the strength concern. And I've seen enough plays of Abdul Carter to notice that these strength concerns could be something that affects him at the NFL level, because he's executing his assignment here, but he gets driven to the deck. And I've seen a lot of other players execute their assignment and not get driven to the deck. Now, he's going up against a very good player in Donovan Jackson. That context is valuable, but I don't think this is a 250-pound player when he's playing. I think this is like a 235, maybe 240-pound player. And that's one of the reasons why he moves as well as he does. But blocking a 240-pound or 235-pound player is a lot different than blocking a 250-pound player. And I just don't know how much I trust Abdul Carter to set an edge. The way I termed it in my report is, I don't want to say Carter is foolproof, even though I love his tape and ability. There's a non-zero chance that Carter may be targeted on early downs and could be exposed against better, more physical teams in the trenches. And before I get to the rest of that, let's just run through some of those highlight plays as I'm talking about some of the more negative sides of Abdul Carter. On the flip side, he has room to grow into his body. He's insanely athletic, and he only has 1 year as an edge. Sure, a defensive coordinator may have to get creative if Carter struggles to consistently defend the run, but his run defense ability in college doesn't suggest a liability, just not a certainty when we're talking about translating to the next level. And his pass rushing skills are through the roof. It's something to acknowledge, but not a deal breaker by any means. And that's how I feel about Abdul Carter as a run defender. I'm not sold that it's going to be this seamless transition. He is more of I'm going to avoid the block and get around the block and penetrate rather than stack and shed. And sometimes you want these big edge rushers you can stack and shed. I think Chauncey Colston is going to be a player who operate in that manner for the New York Giants. That's not what Carter did at Penn State. That's not probably the best way to leverage his skill set. I still think there's certainly room for growth when it comes to being a run defender at the next level. And when it comes to his size and everything, look, he didn't participate in drills at the pro day or at the combine. He's 6'3" and some change, about 43rd percentile, 250 pounds. That's 18th percentile, and I'm dubious that he's 250 pounds. 9 3/4 inch hands, it's 39th percentile, and then 33-inch arms, that's 33rd percentile. So we're not talking about an insane physical freak when it comes to his measurables. His measurables are working against him a little bit. He's a little bit more on the smaller side. But the athletic ability and all that's what sells you on this type of player. Obviously, as you're watching all these clips and seeing how unique of a mover he is. If the foot, and I don't know anything about that, but if the foot is okay, the Giants added a player who is a true difference maker, not only a true difference maker, but will allow the Giants to really hit a different stride that we have not seen in quite a while defensively. Because with Carter and the rest of the guys on this Giants roster, I think they have the best pass rush in the NFL. So if the offense can just have some leads, then Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns and company, Carter, all these guys, they're going to have a phenomenal season if Shane Bowen employs them the right way, especially with a secondary that can cover in a much more effective manner, presuming that Tay Banks takes a step forward, but with Paulson Adebo and Javon Holland, Tyler Newman in his second year, Andrew Phillips in his second year. So this is very exciting times for the New York Giants. I'm happy they ended up with Abdul Carter, and we'll see exactly how the rest of this transpires, the rest of this draft and everything. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Nick Filato signing off. Please follow Big Blue View. All of our content, we're covering the draft extensively. So take care of each other, everyone, and have a lovely day.